we are just want to mention that the Global Integrative Wellness Network, that's the name that you are seeing on the screen, and that's Dinesh Chandra. He happened to be in this area. Some of you know Manoj Tiwari, and he's Manoj's brother, and he attended our classes a few times, and he liked the classes. And once I came to know about his background, I suggested to him to give us a session, and so that we can just get more information. And it's always good to have contacts that can help, and all of us are in that field. He is also very much interested in helping the community, and so any kind of knowledge pool that we collect is good. And so his expertise has been in integrative wellness, and he will go into the details, what kind of wellness. He considers different types of wellnesses, but you'll know more about it. Okay. So with that, Dinesh, all the best. If you have any.
Thank you, Shri. Before I start, anybody would like to say anything? The people who are online about what you expect to get from here, so I can keep my thoughts in that direction. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, I'm Shobha Date, and I'm an IT professional, retired now, and living in California. I would like to know, because we are facing so many COVID threats and so many other things. So how to keep your immunity high such that we can really, kind of build a strong defense against all these threats that we face from time to time, the seasonal or the other viral and those kind of things.
Right. Okay.
So one question, Shobha, I have for you is,
yes.
Are you aware that Swami Yoga Pratap has started this daily 2 sessions on mantra sessions, 9 p.m. and 9 a.m. Okay, every day. Okay, and so quite a few people attend. So
I read that.
Yeah, and the basic purpose of it is to build your immunity.
Okay, fantastic. So I will use the evening session. Very good.
Yeah, whichever. Yeah.
Yes,
Morning session will be a little bit too early.
Very early for me. Yes.
Okay.
Good idea.
Sorry, Dinesh, I didn't want to stop you. You can.
That's fine. That's fine. Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else want to share what they want to know? Okay. In that case, I will just, I have picked up a few things, a little bit interest in the building immunity against COVID, and also in general, the alternate methodologies. So that's what I'm going to cover. So let me share this slide here. Can you all see the slides?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So integrative wellness, so let's start with wellness. Wellness, of course, as you all know, when we have a disease-free body, then we call it healthy. But wellness is a little different. It's a process of making choices towards a healthy and fulfilling life. So it's more than just a good physical health. Now, integrative wellness is an overall balance of the internal factors, which we know the physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual, and the external factors, which are the financial, social, occupational, and environmental aspects. Now, some people may focus on some and others may focus on others. Important thing is that you perhaps can do an assessment in your own mind of where you need more attention. So, for example, if you are emotionally stressed out and having challenges in your life, then of course they will one way or the other way manifest in your body and your physical health. And similarly, if you are financially, if you are having trouble, then any amount of physical health is not going to help, because financially you need to feel well as well. And we know importance of social wellness, as especially for senior citizens. Every relationship, I say, is worth $1 million. Uh, it's almost worth in gold. So integrative wellness is when we have an overall balance of the internal factors, which are physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual, and external factors. These are the broad categories, and they kind of cover our whole life between financial, social, occupational, and environmental. So that's why we call it integrative wellness. Any questions, Sheila? No. Okay. All right. So if we go to the next slide. So if we a little bit go deeper into financial wellness. So in financial wellness, most of us now, people who are retiring, and we are already if we have made good decisions, and which is like saving, trying to save 10% and believe in the power of compounding money, like Warren Buffett always talks about. 10% savings can do magic in your life, and if you can invest it wisely. So hopefully, most people at this point are in a good place and they are financially independent. This is more for younger people who are starting their career, or people who are middle-aged. Relationship with money is very important. And when I was growing up in India, we were always taught that money is not good. The paradigm was always money is not good. It creates bad things. And so especially, I remember the movies like Awara and Char Subis, the Raj Kapoor era. And at that time, the poor people were supposed to be good people, and rich people were supposed to be bad people. So I started my life with a total anti-money feeling. I thought money is bad. And if I met very rich person in a party, I'd probably ignore him, thinking that he's one of those bad guys in the movies I used to see. And it took me a lot of time to change my relationship with money. And so if you can think of money as like air, we don't have to think about breathing. Air is there. I think if we can create a paradigm where we think of money as it's there, and if we have the right mindset, and then the money would follow our way. There's enough of it. We don't have to really feel scarce. And other thing I learned, Ken Honda is a Japanese guy who had done a lot of research about money, has written books. And one, I think, very interesting thought. I grew up in a middle class family, so every time you have to spend money, say, oh my God, there goes another $100, so there goes this money. So the tendency is to kind of not be very happy when the money goes out of my pocket. And I think what I learned listening to him is that every time you spend money, be thankful. We say, thank God that I have this money and I'm able to spend it for this particular family member, or I'm able to do it. I'm able to buy this thing for somebody, and for yourself also. I'm able to use this money for my own good. So take a lot of joy. And the more joy we take, the better our relationship with money becomes, and our sense of security with money begins to change. And also, I grew up in a Brahmin family. So we were taught that Saraswati is our goddess. And, I realized later on in life that's not true. I think all three are equally important: Lakshmi, Saraswati, and Durga. So most of my life, I kept just worshipping Ya Kundendu Tushahar Dhavla Ya Shubhra Vastravata. And now I'm equally committed to Lakshmi ji and Durga, all three of them, because I think they're all important. And then, of course, having good habits with money. So one of the habits I have taught all my grandchildren, if I give them $1, I say, I want you to save 10 cents. The habit of saving 10 cents is very, very important from early life. And I also tell them to give 10 cents for charity. So 80 cents you can spend, but 10 cents for charity and 10 cents for savings. So if anybody who developed this habit, so even now, at this point, I still believe whatever I'm earning, I must save 10% and give 10% in charity. I'm not always able to do it, but I try. I'm trying. So that's something about financial wellness, which is my research and all the reading, all the things I have found. I'm going to stop here for a second and say if anyone wants to add anything. This is more interactive session, so I'm sure people are very knowledgeable here. If you would like to add anything, I'm very keen on learning from your experience. So any comment or any thought on financial wellness?
Well, I
Can
really
you
your is comment that financial being and emotional well-being are all and physical well-being are all interrelated, and the relationship with spending of money is a very great insight that you brought up. It's really thought-provoking.
Thank you. And I think it has made a big difference in my life. So I hope anyone who is listening, it makes a difference in your life. Now let's come to, anyone else want to say before I go to social wellness?
quickly, can you tell me the importance of the Durga?
Sorry, what do you want to know about Durga?
I know the Lakshmi and the Saraswati, but I never heard of Durga.
Oh,
Equally.
Durga this is the triad, the three Devis, Lakshmi, Saraswati, and Durga. Durga is Shankar, Bhagwan's Shankar's cohort, and Durga is energy. And the most important prayer for Durga is the Durga Saptashadi. And if you just remember those three, one shloka, Sarva Mangal Mangalye Shive Sarva Sadhake Shande Tramke Gauri Narani Namostute. That is a very powerful mantra, and I love that.
Okay, so, thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, this is Sheila. I agree with you. The internal and external factors plays very important in your life. And it is same because I studied the Chinese system. I have the same thing, and they also believe the same thing. Like external factors, say like marriage, relationships, or any kind of a stress that affects your health, and then it'll have a effect on your internal health being. So I just wanted to just strengthen, or affirm the same kind of ideas what you have from the Chinese.
Excellent point. I totally, and that's why I started with the external, because everybody is interested in financial wellness. I mean, that's where 80% of our focus, most of the people, especially in California and Bay Area side, everybody wants to be a billionaire by 30 and, retire by 32. So especially the younger generation. So financial wellness is totally related to our internal factors, because if we totally focus there, and if we are emotionally dissatisfied, and a lot of factors, they are intertwined. And that's why I think it's a very important point to understand that you can't operate in isolation. They are all interconnected. So let's go to social wellness. And those of you, you notice that if you come on video, then we have a better connection. Because when we see in each other's eyes, there is a more sense of connection. So one of the things, number one, if you want to develop better relationship, then come on the video and look at me, and let's exchange glances, because it becomes very impersonal when we are in a business meeting. When we are just simply receiving something, then it's okay. Then you can keep the video off. But in an interactive session, especially when you're trying to have a sense of connection with other people, then it's very, very important that you focus on the body language and the eye contact, and how can we the most important thing is that if we can develop an attitude of appreciation. Like, notice that whenever we meet someone, we immediately notice what's wrong with this. If like somebody is wearing their clothes, if they're not matching, or the shoes are not matching, or something funny, there is a tendency in us, at least in me, I notice that I immediately notice what is wrong. But how do I change that and start noticing what is right with a person? It took me many, many years to get to that point where the first thing you notice about this person is what is right with the person. What can we appreciate? And it's very simple, because I think all of us want to be appreciated. I did some work in 15 different countries. That was one of my goals. And I used to ask this question, what is common about human beings? And I found that they all want to make a genuine contribution, and they all want to be appreciated for that contribution. So I think if you want to develop good social connection, it's so important that to start learning appreciating people in small things, whatever, wherever you can. Just simply, if someone does something kind, appreciating that and appreciating. So that I find very, very useful. And a sense of belonging is very important. Like, look at this yoga community. There is such a, I mean, I just joined few days, 4 or 5 days, but I'm already, I can't wait for 8 o'clock to start. And then as we get to know each other, it becomes a very strong support system. And especially as we get older, these support systems are very, very powerful and very useful. And you can see many times that we get pulled between our children, grandchildren. They want to pull us in one city, but our friends are in a different city. And many times, many of us make the decision to stay with their friends. The friendship becomes so important. And then we go visit our grandchildren and other members for a while. So social wellness is very important. Having a support system is very important. People where we can have a heart-to-heart conversation. I'm not talking about these parties where we say, hello, how are you? And everyone says, how are you? But we remain on the surface. I'm talking about developing deeper relationship where we can really open up and share our feelings with other people. Those becomes very powerful support system. So again, I'll stop here. Any other experience or an observation about social wellness?
I think you are so right. This is Sheila. Because we have our friends in California and we have our children in Maryland, and we would like to again go back to Maryland to be with our children. But we are here only for last 20 years. But in Maryland we were there for much more time, and our children are there. But here we have developed very close relation with two of our friends, and we almost feel like family. And then if we move to Maryland, that will be the biggest missing factor what we are going to have. I agree with you. The social relation is very, very important at this part of the life.
Right. So I think we should cherish our close relationships and cultivate even more.
Yes.
If you have, I would say, if you're very lucky, if you have, one good friend, and people who are blessed who have like 5 or 6 or maybe 10 friends, and then a close circle. So that's very powerful. So if you go to occupational wellness, most of us here seems like they're all either we are retiring or we are close to. But again, aligning with your purpose. If you're very lucky, very few people I have found that they have been able to do a job which is aligned with their purpose. Many people wanted to be a musician, an artist, or whatever, and and they ended up working for IRS or things like that, and life becomes drudgery. But if you align with your purpose, and I think it's never too late. And even now, if you whatever your dream was, and whatever you want to do. For example, my wife at 50, she joined the law school, and she found a new career. And so it has so much more meaningful for her that it kind of gave her a new excitement in life. And she passed the California bar, and she's practicing now for the last 10 years, and really new excitement. So and of course, environmental wellness, we cannot talk any more. Everyone is aware. We are seeing the weather patterns changing, and but the challenge is, what can we do as an individual? We sometimes we feel, well, it's the politicians, and what can I do? But I think you'll be surprised that if you can start doing even small things, like, for example, I do composting. Now, it's not a big deal, but at least I take a lot of pride that all my biodegradable waste here is all going in my backyard, in my ground. I have stopped using single-use plastics. I carry bags. Those simple things, if all of us begin to do them, and I think this awareness which is there for environmentally sustainable practices, and pandemic has been a gift in that sense because it's forcing us to rethink. And I think remote working is going to definitely bring the carbon uh, uh, emissions down. And more and more people are taking personal responsibility for environmental awareness and the kind of things we can do. So only thing I'll urge is that if you can personally start doing at least one thing, one simple thing that which is environmentally sustainable practice, then at least you are making a good start. So I'm going to start here and then we'll
Exactly.
talk more about internal, but any comments so far?
I said I'm very big on recycling. Like I'll not even, I'll make sure that everything goes in the right bin and all the plastic bags go to the giant plastic bags and, all electronics goes to the electronic station, all that thing. So I guess I'm doing a good part there.
That's lovely. I think that need to be replicated, and I think more and more people do it. And also, I think growing something in your, even in
Oh, yeah.
apartments, we can
Yeah.
grow so much. All the herbs, tulsi and cilantro, dhania and pudina, mint, all those things we can grow very easily, and they are
True.
healthy. And we also develop good habits and good practices. So that's wonderful, Wendy, that you're doing that.
And I do not use plastic bottles at all, and I do not, I carry my own steel bottles wherever I go. So, yeah.
That's very nice. So now let's go to the internal factors. And let's see. And of course, physical, we probably spend maximum amount of time. And there, I would say that healthy lifestyle, moving, consistent physical activity, everyone agrees on that. And diet plays such a powerful role, which many people intuitively, we all know that. But I think one has to really understand the power of diet. Sorry? Please go ahead.
No, I think
Okay.
somebody needs to be muted. Okay.
All right. So what I have learned, I have in California, Shilaji, you probably heard of Lalit Kapoor. Have you heard of Lalit Kapoor? Lalit
No.
Kapoor is doing an excellent job. He is a advocate of, he calls it 5 pillar. So I personally have benefited from his methodology. So I want to share that. And he talks about the 5 pillar methodology, in which he talks about number one, plant-based MTBF, plant-based whole food. Okay, plant-based whole foods. And I used to have blood pressure, high blood pressure, and I was typically taking medication and statins like everybody does. And ever since about 2 years ago, I got involved in in California, we have cracked the wellness code movement, which has been launched by ICC and Naren Bakshi and other people. And I started working with them. So I started learning more and more about alternate therapies, and many doctors were involved in that. So they would talk about diet and so on. But this plant-based whole food diets and intermittent fasting, which many of you are aware and a lot of people are practicing now, that combination and 10,000 steps every day, minimum 10,000 steps, and an optimal sleep, of course, those are the simple things which one has to do. And there are testimony after testimony how people are solving neurological disorders and diabetes type 2. I don't know how many people diabetes type 2 are reversed. Heart disease, like I told you, my blood pressure is running around 100, 110, 120 now. And I've never felt this energy in all my life following that advice. So I would say that it's anecdotal at this point, and there is an attempt to do scientific study on that. That conversation is going on, but there is enough evidence. Raj Shah did a presentation, who's a well-known entrepreneur in Bay Area. He did a presentation. I listened to him. He had autoimmune. and he was able to reverse autoimmune following this methodology. So any of those people who are listening here, if you would like, I can give you the contact, and I'll highly recommend to you. You got nothing to lose by going to this intermittent fasting and going to a plant-based whole food diet and optimal sleep, going more and more in line with circadian cycle, meaning try to sleep by 10 o'clock. The best sleep is 10 to 2. If you can sleep by 10, and then you'll find that your health overall will improve if you're able to good night's sleep. So in diet, essentially, it will require a change of lifestyle. A lot of people start this diet and that diet, and it does not work. Because what happens is that if your friend circle and everyone is they are used to late parties. And if you want to do intermittent fasting, that means you should try to eat ideally between an 8-hour period. Like if you start at 9 o'clock in the morning, then finish by 5. If you start 10, then finish by 6. But you can, if let's say right now you start at 8 o'clock, your first cup of tea, and then you're having your dinner at 9 or 10 in the evening. I would say, I always believe in baby steps. Don't go a drastic step. If you're eating at dinner at 10, cut it down to bring it down to 9:30 or bring it down to 9. Just reduce it by 1 hour. And what will happen is that you'll begin to lose weight. Most people begin to lose weight when they cut by an hour. That will motivate you further. Then you will be able to cut second hour. And then pretty soon you'll realize that you're eating your dinner by 6 o'clock. Now, once a week, if you have a party or something, it's okay to make an exception. But you will find the benefits so powerful that you'll begin to change your lifestyle slowly, slowly, slowly. So if health is important to you, then you ought to really give it a try. So this Lalit Kapoor methodology, and I'm a big fan of his. But if you can't do the whole thing, then whatever you can do, if you can make intermittent fasting just one step, just do that. If you can just focus on your sleep, optimal sleep, of course, the obvious things are don't take cell phone into your bedroom. How many of you take your cell phone into your bedroom? Very obvious thing. Or watching late night TVs when you wake up at night. So staying away from blue light, as we all know, is very, very important. And trying to, when you start eating early, then also it has a direct benefit. If you finish eating by dinner by 6 and no snacks after that. If you must eat snacks, then you can eat dates or nuts or natural things, not this junk processed food. So that is something key. And of course, avoiding high risk behavior. As you become older, even taking a shower becomes high risk behavior. So make sure that you have a mat in the bathroom, because how many people slip on the bathroom and break their hip? And that's the no. You don't want to do that. And high energy practice, I think yoga, of course, is so powerful. And mountaineering, hiking, dancing, anything you like, whatever you like, just do that. Like we are now planning a trip to Everest, Mount Everest base camp. And first, when I heard about it, 16,000 feet, it's like going to Mansarovar. I was very scared that will I be able to do it? But then I thought about the invincible power of spirit. Once we decide that we want to do something, I think our spirit just gives us all that energy and power. So I want you all guys to pray for me that I'm able to make it. We are planning to go there in April this year. And I'm a little bit nervous, a little bit scared, but my spirit says that you'll be able to do it. So if I'm able to do it, I'll let you know. So, but that's the physical wellness, extremely important. And I would say, I'm going to stop here because there are a very learned group here of doctors and others. If you guys want to make any comment.
We will pray for you, Deshpande.
Sorry?
I said we will pray for you, Deshpande. We will pray for you to go to Mount Everest and come safe back.
Yeah, the base camp. Base camp is about 16,000 feet. Yeah. Many of my friends have done Mansarovar. And I think if you practice, then you can do it, because the oxygen is low at there. So you have to just get ready for that. Now, emotional wellness, as someone said.
I have a question about your plant-based whole foods.
Yeah.
Do you include any grains in that, or grains are not allowed?
No, grains are allowed. And I think Mr. Lalit Kapoor is an authority on that. So I'm just his student. But he has done such thorough research. And in his group, he posts all the information. And there are many doctors in that group. Many doctors have given testimonials how they have benefited from that whole methodology. And it's not, it's a discipline in which you can make choices slowly. So if you're not able to do a lot of things drastically, then you can go slowly in that direction.
I think many listeners would be interested in knowing more about this group. So if you can provide us more information on that.
Absolutely. I'll provide it
Thank
to
you.
I
Shri.
think, yeah, if you send the
Yes, that will
link,
be nice.
then
Yeah,
I can
I'll
just,
provide it to you, Shri.
yeah. Okay.
And now we come to the emotional wellness. This is probably the most important factor behind our disease and problems we have. And a lot of people are not even aware that how their subconscious drives that. Now, I'll give you an example. A friend of mine, he recently moved from one place where he has lived all his life to another place because, again, the children and grandchildren and all that. And he had some issues before, but now it became worse. And as we explored a little bit deeper, we realized that there was tremendous amount of conflict in his mind, because on one hand, he also wanted to be close to his family, grandchildren. On the other hand, he had really hard time in letting go of the place where he was all his life, most of his life. So it's very important for us to understand what are the issues. And sometimes a good friend can help you, sometimes a good counselor, and there's a lot of therapy these days. But it's important to understand our subconscious and our issues. If there are any traumas, we have childhood traumas, then it's very important to resolve them. And everybody has a stress. But if we develop the ability to manage that stress, that is important. And ability to feel and express emotions is very important, and developing healthy relationship. And I'll tell you a simple formula which I have found in developing healthy relationship, which works very well for me, is that anytime I'm having conflict with anybody, whether it's my wife or it's my daughter or it's my friend, I always think of them as my right hand. So let's say I'm having an argument with my very close friend. So I think of him as my right hand, and I think of myself as my left hand. And I always say that I have to satisfy both of them. I cannot just meet the needs of the right hand or meet the needs of left hand. And I also say that there is no intention of hurting each other. Like imagine if I'm hammering a nail and accidentally, if I hit the hammer on my left hand doesn't say, oh my God, I'm going to take revenge now. Why did you hit me? Why? Because they know that they are connected. Left and right belong to the same person. So if you develop that attitude that any person who's close to you, they are your right hand and you are the left hand. So if they say something, they don't really want to hurt you. It's just that accidentally they are saying it, or unintentionally they are saying it, or they might be saying it in anger. Sometimes we say, well, this guy got mad in anger. So when people are angry, they say things they don't mean it. And I think if we can learn to forgive them, which is forgiveness is a much talked about subject, and from Gandhi to Christ to everyone. But it's very simple. If you want to be in good health, it's important that you forgive other people and forgive yourself. It's a simple statement, but it took me most of my life to understand that, how important it is not to hold grudges and accept people as they are, because we are all human beings. We are all flawed. We all make mistakes, and we expect other people to forgive us. So it's very important for us to have the same attitude for others. And when others do something which hurt us, then we have to forgive them. And we can draw our boundary lines. I'm not talking about a open end, because we have to love ourselves also. And that's another important factor in emotional wellness. We have been taught to sacrifice, especially in our family. When the guest would come, our bed would gone. When our milk would be gone, because there is a lot of tea is being made. So it used to bother us, but now we got used to it. But it's important to take care of our own self. So it's a balance between caring for other people and caring for our own self. And when we are in good balance, we feel pretty good. If we are too much for ourselves, then we feel very selfish. And if we are too much over caring for other people, then we are out of balance again. So it's a question of balancing our needs and other people's needs. And I found this analogy of left hand, right hand works very well for me. So I'm always trying to go to namaste. Namaste, both the hands come together and we are taking care of both sides. Yeah, I'm taking care of your interest and I'm taking care of my interest. So I'm going to pause here again. Anyone has any comments about emotional wellness? Your experiences.
I have a question. In case of emotional conflicts, like, if you have a conflict with somebody, like, you want to talk, so do you do you do you feel that communication is the biggest, I guess, asset? If we are able to communicate ourselves clearly to the other person, I think that is going to help a lot.
Absolutely. But how difficult at times it gets for us to be authentic. Because if we if you're able to express yourself truly, nothing better than that. But I used to find it very, very difficult because sometimes we are sensitive to other person. If I say that, how that person would react. But you are so right. If you are able to communicate your feelings honestly and correctly, authentically, what you really feel, then that's very powerful. And if both the people can express themselves each other in an authentic manner, then I think that's emotionally very healing. So I
Yeah,
totally
but
agree.
there's a lot of contemplation goes before even opening up, because you're always fearful of, as you said, hurting somebody or going, sounding very snobbish, or I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of contemplation, and I guess sometimes too much of contemplation also makes you drained and unwell.
No, you're absolutely right. I think one thing I have found is that when I try to really focus on listening to other person, that is so powerful. If somebody can really listen, and I call it not listening with ears, but listening with your eyes, where you can really feel, you can see how other person is feeling, and listening with heart, that goes to the next level, where you can really empathize with the person and you can really feel what the other person is experiencing, and listening without judgment. Because what happens is whenever we hear a person talk, our mind begins to challenge that, especially if we don't agree. But ability to suspend your judgment and still process the ideas of the other person, that I have found to be very, very powerful. So if I can listen to you without judging, and then there's a very good chance that you will also listen to me. And then both of us can resolve our conflicts. Good listening, in my life, I have found that good listening solves 80-90% of the problem. And we should never say, I don't have time. I always say with somebody, if you're trying to resolve a conflict, I have all the time in the world. I will not leave until you are done. So please talk to me. So listening is very, very powerful in communication. But that requires an open mindset, a more accepting mindset, a more forgiving mindset, right? Because if I'm angry with you and I'm holding a grudge, I'm still thinking about what you did to me in the last party or last year, then of course I can't listen to you. I can pretend going through the motions, but I'll really not be able to listen to you because my anger will take over, right? So yeah, go ahead.
No, I said absolutely true. You're right.
So now we come to the intellectual wellness. And this is also very, very important to have an open mind. And for example, whenever we have a conflict with someone, the first thing our mind goes, how that person did this, right? If you develop the habit, I have a very good friend and a mentor, Peter Block, and he's written a book on empowerment, and he was well known in the organizational development field. He asked me one question. He said, Dinesh, anytime you are having a conflict, ask the question, how have I contributed where I find myself in this situation. And he said there are two advantages. Number one, if you focus on the other person, yeah, you can blame the other person for the rest of your life, but it's not going to help you. But if you focus on how am I contributing to the problem, then there is a very good chance that you can change your way. Let's say I found out that I'm contributing to the problem because I'm too loud or my tone is too high. And every time I talk in a loud and a high tone, I turn off the other person. Then I can change my tone. I can begin to talk in a softer tone. I can begin to talk in a more calm voice. And that can perhaps begin to change my relationship with the other person. So that is something very important, to taking responsibility and realizing how am I contributing to the problem. And being proactive is, of course, we know that all the time we have a choice. If someone says, Dinesh, you are a totally stupid person and you don't know anything, in that moment, I have two choices. I can either react to the person and start challenging him. Well, I've got a master's degree and I've done so much study. Why are you calling me like that? Or I can say, okay, thank you if you feel that way. I appreciate your views. But do I have that choice? Have I got the discipline not to react to the other person and remain calm? And I always remember Gandhiji's story where somebody came with a 2-page paper and just cursing Gandhiji and abusing and all that. Gandhiji read that and he smiled at him and he took the paper clip and put it on his desk and took the other paper and threw it away. And he says, thank you very much. I understand your views. I heard that story. I never forgot that. So when someone is saying things to us, we don't have to react. Even if there is a one paper clip in that, we can take that and learn from that and let it go. So intellectual wellness, I find having an empowered mind, which essentially means not blaming other people. If you just stop blaming other people in any relationship, life improves so much. And it has the practical advantage that when you take responsibility, then you can change your behavior. And the other thing important in intellectual awareness is the learning ability, which comes with the open-mindedness. And I have a simple technique there. Anytime someone says something which you find totally to be not true, at that time, if you can just say maybe. So I call it having a maybe mindset. So let's say, for example, you don't believe in dreams and someone says dreams are very powerful. If you say maybe and then continue to explore and ask the person, why do you say dreams are powerful? And the other person says, have you read anything about dreams? I said, no. Well, here are the books. And those in psychology, there is so much work being done by Carl Jung and a lot of other people on dreams and the power of dreams. So I was totally skeptic, but now I totally believe in dreams. So my paradigm totally shifted. So anything which you don't believe, if you're open to that idea and process that idea, at least for one night before rejecting it, then I think it becomes very, very important. So, and finally, spiritual wellness. I think this group, all of you do yoga here, so I don't need to say anything here. You all know how powerful yoga and meditation is in aligning with our deeper source and realizing that we are much more than our egos and we can go beyond ego. In psychology, we call it self-actualization. And in the spiritual world, we call it self-realization. So those of you who have been in yoga, meditation, you know what I'm talking about. More and more, you begin to realize that we are much, much more than our thoughts, much more than our emotions. And like I remember Swami Chinmayananda used to teach, I'm not the body, I'm not the object, I'm not the mind, I'm not the emotions, I'm not the intellect, I'm not the thoughts, I am the master. So getting to know that master is the search, the spiritual wellness. And of course, that search will always take us to unity consciousness, that we are all one. And if we can begin to feel that oneness, all the conflict, all the disease, everything begins to disappear. This is the place Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about. That's where you can reverse any major disease. If you can get to that place of higher consciousness, in that place, your body listens to you. You control your body does not control you. And in that place, a lot of these miracle healing, all that happen in that place. So those of you interested in that Gaia channel, I would highly recommend to listen to Dr. Joe Dispenza. He is wonderful and he does a lot of work in this field to heal people. So I look up to him and many other masters in this field who are healing people spiritually. So these are all the different modes of healing, and whatever appeals to you. Some people here may be more attracted to one or the other, but the idea is once you master that, then go to the next one. And we need to master in all of them to lead a healthy and a fulfilling life. And that's what integrative wellness means to me. And I'm going to stop here. It's about 6 minutes, so time for you to comment and your thoughts.
Yeah, this is Sheila Rajan again. I want to add one more thing to this is in relation to intellectual and spiritual wellness. It's very enriching as well as fulfilling if you can be a member of one of the satsang groups, like yoga. Our Sriji group is good, and then there are Chinmananda, Dayananda. There are so many swamis. They have all the internet, they have all the discussions, and there are so many Vedic society. There are so many people. So if you are doing a satsang, even going on one of the summer programs or something, or 2 or 3 days, or just a part of a satsang, that will enrich you, and then you will become more mature, and then your way of thinking will be much more in line for your wellness.
Totally support that view. Totally agree with that. Anyone else?
One thing about the, the generally there's a Rajan Vakil, who is another great master in yoga. He says that a pause is very important. When you want to, when there is any event, and before you react, if you pause, then it will be a response and not a reaction, and that will be a more, a smart, response to the event. So just wanted to mention that.
Absolutely. When we were young, we used to read this, in one of the quotes that you should choose your battles wisely. So, giving a pause, whether it's worth making it a battle of argument, it's really great, and it does wonders in resolving the conflicts.
I would suggest, Dinesh, all the contacts you mentioned or links, if you can forward those to me, then I will include that when I send the information to the group.
Sure, and I have put down my telephone number also. Any of you would like to keep in touch, of course, that is there. And my email is also, I'm putting down. So anyone, and I'll give all the information to Shri, so he can pass it on to everyone about Lalit Kapoor's group as well. So this has been my pleasure to get to know you all, and I wish you all the best of health and best of wellness. And
excellent. Really enjoyed your talk. Absolutely amazing. So empowering. Yes, very nice.
Thank you.
Very much.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It was.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dinesh,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dinesh ji, I would like to get in touch with you. Please get in touch with me when you come to California.
Sure, I have put down my phone number and my email in the chat. And
I will,
wonderful.
I'll contact. Thank you.
I'll be very happy to share any information I have. This is my mission now, to just help anybody with the wellness ideas. I'm based in California, but we are only a phone call away. So lovely to meet all of you, and thank you for giving me the